Today we ask the question, is HEX a scam? And maybe we'll look at your favorite Richard Hart video. This is Around the Blockchain. Thank you for joining, everybody. It is going to be a phenomenal show, so please go ahead and hit that like. We got 4 great guests, including my favorite who chills at the beach 24/7. It is Piano Matty B. Piano, I'm just going to ask everybody, did you have a HEX bag?
No, I didn't. It was too complicated for me. Like, I tried, and I was like, I don't know how to get on it. This is crazy.
All right, well, no comment. No, I have a Pulse. I have a PulseChain. I don't hold any X. I did sack for Pulse back in the day. Corey, also on today. Corey Casta, I think it's fair to say, judging by the background colors here, did you have a bag of HEX?
Yeah, and I still do. And I have a bag of PulseChain and PulseX as well, man. Yeah, I do.
All right. Hey, so do I. Haven't just sold a penny. Also on today, we have Cassius fixing to film a music video. Maybe you'll see Mrs. Deezy in there. Maybe Deezy himself. Who knows? It is Cassius Cuvee.
Gonna be there, man.
She will.
We're gonna film it at Rare Evo, man. You got to be there, Rare Evo.
All right. Well, I'm gonna let her know. I'm gonna see you right after the show. I'm gonna say, hey, Cassius requested you for the video, so I'll let her know. And then also on today, we have Interpret Crypto. And can you interpret something for me? Did you have HEX?
I did not have HEX. I did not have PulseChain, and I did not have PulseX. I've stayed far, far away from all of these tokens. I think we could have seen this one coming. All
right. Well, we'll be covering that in the third topic. But first, we got to cover a couple other things, namely the Curve exploit. Looks like Curve, CRV token. They lost a significant amount of money, tens of millions of dollars. Well, they just experienced a huge exploit just yesterday, and it was within the Viper coding language. So all you programmers out there, careful with those Viper suppositories there. But, well, because this is crypto, guys, the story didn't just end with the Curve exploit. Well, the hacker, he was able to find an exploit with this Viper coding language, but then the hacker was front ran by an MEV bot, and then the MEV bot was able to prevent him from hacking the $50 million. It looks like the MEV bot was able to run away with over 10 million of that. The MEV bot is called coffeebabe.eth. Then, they were able to front run the hacker by just paying a little bit more in gas on the Ethereum blockchain. And due to this, yesterday was the most profitable day for MEV bots in Ethereum's entire history. They made over $11 million. And so far, the total value locked on Curve took a huge withdrawal there, went from $3 billion all the way down to 1.7 billion. So still a lot of total value locked in the protocol. Here you can see right there, they since deleted this tweet. Hi, JPEG, talking about this meme coin. You might want to take a look at this. This is from PeckShield. Well, Curve then responded, read-only reentrancy. Why doesn't anyone follow our recommendations? Sigh. Well, then Spaghetti Dev, that old guy, old Spaghetti Dev, the re-entrancy vulnerability was on Curve Pool itself, not the meme coins contracts. A little bit of egg on their face right there. Oh, can't believe that meme coin in their bad contract. No, that's your contract. Well, then they deleted that tweet 2 hours later. So if you're looking for it, you can find some screenshots. They're still floating around. All right, well, a lot of bad stuff happened. MEV bots front running everybody. Piano Matty B, this is just a Sunday in DeFi. Given that, what are your general thoughts on DeFi? Is it still a little too much of the Wild West? Or is this, maybe more orderly than the traditional banking system in some senses?
Well, to say that the traditional banking system isn't completely a fraudulent scam is an understatement as well. But listen, DeFi is the Wild West. I mean, I like it, but I think you have to take responsibility for yourself. So you get into it, you got to know the risks, right? So every time I hear one of these things gets hacked or whatever, I'm like, it's almost like every single one of them are going to get hacked because the hackers just go from one, they get it, and then they move on to another one. So if you're going to lock it up or you're going to stake, you're going to just have to be prepared. One of these days, one of these little hackers are going to get in and they might take all your coin, like Spaghetti Dev. You got to look out for Spaghetti Dev. I wouldn't trust them.
Yeah, you got to look out for
Spaghetti Dev.
Spaghetti Dev and coffeebabe.eth. I think there were a chance of lock her up. I'm pretty sure it was her. Now, Corey, you're laughing, but Coffee Babe, end up maybe potentially saving people over $10 million. I think there's actually negotiation on the white hat hacker fee, but it looks like they're trying to give the bulk of the funds back. Is Coffee Babe, despite the lock her up chance, is Coffee Babe a hero or a villain in your eyes?
I think that it's not one or the other. I think that you can be both a vigilante that's perceived as a villain, and you can also be a hero as well that can save people money. So I don't think that it's a one size fit all. I think that white hat hackers in cryptocurrency are perceived as both positive and negative, depending on where you are on the particular podium and where you stand in the particular issue. Look, we have seen numerous different hacks in DeFi. Unfortunately, we saw the multi-chain exploit recently. We saw the Harmony Bridge exploit, unfortunately. Now we see Curve. We need white hat hackers within the realm of blockchain and cryptocurrency, because without them, there is no yin and yang. There's only one particular component of cryptocurrency, and those are the malevolent actors, those are the malevolent hackers that have really nobody that stands against them from an antagonistic standpoint. So in my personal opinion, is that person a villain? Possibly. But is that person also saving people millions of dollars? Absolutely. So I don't see it from two different I don't see it from a one size fits all perspective. I don't think we can in this particular predicament.
All right. Well, we do have a super sub, Tyler Main. Matty B is my favorite crypto Canadian. Okay. Some pretty. Hey, CZ is technically a Canadian citizen, folks. I mean, you're beating CZ, Piano Matty B. Vitalik's actually a Canadian citizen. So 2 points. 2 points for he likes you more than CZ and Vitalik there. Sorry, Corey, he just jumped ahead of you there. Now, Cassius, a lot of people are saying, hey, I remember, I'm looking at bullish narratives of the past. There's a DeFi 2020. We got a newcomer maybe looking for the new DeFi craze. What would you say to a newcomer coming to you that's just got their first wallet yesterday? Would you say, DeFi, come in, the water's warm, or would you say, stay away, there's sharks in the water?
Choose wisely. Now, this is definitely something I do my research in advance. I'd watch as many videos you need to watch and do as much research as you can. I do like the idea of DeFi, but we just talked about hackers. Make sure you find one that hasn't been hacked before, that one that has reliable, payouts. But I've used AlgoFi before, worked fine. But they're no longer. They went away. I don't actually know all the reasons why, but I don't think they got hacked or anything like that. So the idea of DeFi is great. I love that idea, because if you can basically have your coins represent the value, the collateral, then that makes sense. You don't need to have a bank. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of this, right? We want to be able to do banking without a bank. And it makes sense that if you have your collateral, then you should be able to borrow against it. But there is risk involved. It's very important to say, though, they're not all the same. So that's why I say do the research.
All right. I think that's pretty good advice. Put in your 40 hours, I think, as Gary V says. All right. Interpret crypto. I want you maybe kind of interpret the laws moving forward here. Can DeFi survive the European Union and America, to say, over the next 5 years? I mean, will we have to use a VPN a half a decade from now?
I mean, this is a big question around regulation, and the question still remains of who is targeted through this regulation. Is it the developers? Is it the founders? When we're looking at this, we still don't really have an answer for that, how they can actually force regulation on DeFi. We did actually see with Tornado Cash, the developer for that, got all into trouble and things like that. And I thought that was ridiculous, because all these developers are doing is creating a piece of code and putting it onto the blockchain. So there's all of those problems around regulation. But I woke up this morning and saw this news and thought, I mean, it's so disappointing. Another re-entrancy attack. These are attacks that we've been seeing for like 8 years now. This is the same kind of attack that we had for the DAO that caused the Ethereum hard fork to Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. This is the same kind of attack. This is one of the most basic attacks you learn when you learn about blockchain development and coding languages for Web3. Yet we're still seeing it on major platforms. Curve Finance was ranked number 75 in terms of market cap, a leading DeFi protocol, and then it was subject to a re-entrancy attack. This is one of the most basic ones, so it's so frustrating to see it happening over and over again. We see attacks in the industry all the time, and we always say, it's okay, it's a new industry, we need to learn from this and build from this, but it just is so frustrating to see it over and over again. People are losing trust in the industry because we continue to see this happening.
Actually, that's a really good point. I can honestly say I don't think I've ever considered whom do we regulate? Do we regulate, the users? Is it the programmers who wrote the code? Like you said, is it going to be the capital allocators? I think these are a lot of good questions I actually never really thought of. So I'm a get some more wrinkles on my bald head about that one. But speaking of bald got a little hairy, folks. I'm talking about the meme coin that is on Coinbase's base layer. Well, this on the layer 2 scaling solution there, it is a huge crash over the past 24 hours. It dropped over 90% just in the matter of hours. It looked like it went all the way up to 9 cents. It's currently around a penny. At one point, the liquidity pool had $32 million worth of ETH in the decentralized pool there. Crypto Sleuths took to look like found out a little something there. The developers pulled 7,000 ETH. It's roughly $13 million or so. And it didn't end up as a rug pull for everybody, though. Couple millionaires were made, folks, including the first wallet. Really looked like they got in at $500. They cashed out $1.4 million. And then there was 4 wallets. They put in ETH 4 minutes after launch. 0.5 ETH, roughly $1,000. $1,000 turned into 554 ETH, folks. That's a lot of money. So over $1 million. So 1,000 into over $1 million. So that's 1,000x. Just for them, the $500, even more. I mean, you're looking at a 3,000x. So big gains. But, let me go ahead and I know before chat spams it. Yes. All right. Well, advice. All right. Piano Matty B. We kind of talked about this in DeFi. This is a little bit similar. We were talking about meme coins. There's going to be people hunting for the next bald. Is there any kind of pattern that emerges where we can maybe distinguish that?
Yeah, my advice to people searching for the alpha and a meme coin, and I'm shocked that you just said that a meme coin got rugged. I've never heard of a meme coin getting rugged. Anyway, this is my advice for searching out the most alpha for a meme coin. You take a dart, make sure that it's sharp right on the end that you're throwing it at the wall, and you put up all the meme coins up against the wall, and then you just shoot at it. And whatever it hits, Bob's your uncle. Put, $100 into it anymore, and it's just completely irresponsible, DZ.
All right. Well, Corey, we actually have a chat. We're going to throw out Hinance's question. The guy allowed millions, talking about one of the wallets. One of the wallets rode it up to millions and then rode it all the way back down. His question is, why on earth did they not take profit there? Corey, what would you guess?
I think one of the reasons why people don't take profit in this industry is a couple of reasons. One, there's this idealistic notion that it's negative to take profits. I've seen this in cryptocurrency many different times in different communities where you are demonized if you take profit and you're no longer part of this ethos of being part of the cryptocurrency revolution simply because you made money. I also think a lot of people in cryptocurrency are very inexperienced surrounding profit taking. And I think a lot of people who come into cryptocurrency are very inexperienced surrounding the idea that cryptocurrency is not a constant upward trend. I think that the biggest issue we see here is that there's a lot of inexperienced individuals who come into this market who presume that cryptocurrency is a get-rich-quick scheme. And for some it is, but for many it is not. And as a result of that, people hold because they're stuck in this state of cognitive euphoria, and because this pattern, like you said before, this pattern emerges where it constantly goes up and up and up and up, and people don't know where the top is. And euphoria only creates a model where people want to be in something even more. And I've seen this over and over again in different communities where people ride the bull run to the top and then they hold things all the way to the bottom. And I think one of the main reasons is that nobody knows where the top is, and nobody, when we're close to the top, ever expects a bottom. So I think one of the main reasons why somebody holds is a couple of reasons: inexperienced, cognitive euphoria, can't distinguish when the top is going to be in. And I think human avarice and greed as well comes in. And when you compare yourself to other people who are able to who put in $500 and they make almost $2 million or even more, well, you want to be like that person that's able to get rich quick off of nothing. So I think that that's why people ride things down to the bottom, because they don't know when the bottom really is, and they don't know how to take profits, and they don't have a plan.
All right. +1 for saying the word avarice without saying the word amalgamate. And I would throw in one additional caveat there. What it takes to ride 1,000 to 2 million is the same thing that will take to ride that 2 million back down to 1,000. So it's the
Yes.
similar trader. Me and you cannot take a 20x without profits, let alone a 100x, let alone a 500x, let alone a 1000x. We would have sold some by then. So it's a special type of person is kind of what I'll say there.
I did it in 2017, man. I did it in 2017. It's too relatable.
All right. Well, Cassius, what are your thoughts about what he just said? He was talking about there's a demonization going on about selling. Why is there sell shaming? Is the answer as easy as they're haters? I mean, what do you think?
No, I don't think the answer is easy as they're haters per se. We all kind of understand how it works, right? I studied traditional finance before I got over to crypto, and you need money to flow into a protocol or into a coin or a stock or anything to move up the price. I mean, it's just how it works, man. Stocks, crypto assets go up in value because people buy them, and they go down because people sell them. So if I'm a holder, you want to be the first to buy, right? You don't want to be the last to sell. So basically, the people who are in it are like, no, we're supposed to be pumping this thing up. You're not supposed to sell. We're supposed to wait and hold and try to convince others to come in. And unfortunately, that's kind of like the gambling side of it. Me personally, obviously, you guys know I like to have a lot of fun in the space and make music and entertainment around it and everything. But I kind of like believe in the longer term technology, the actual computer science. So on the coins and layer 1, layer 1s, layer 2s, whatever, that I think actually could have the potential for some type of mass adoption or some sort of mass organizations to use as their daily business, I want to hold those long term because of the fact that I think that they're going to catch on. And ultimately, as a stakeholder, you're going to get basically a form of a dividend by holding it and supporting the network over the long term. So it's really different if you want to be a trader or if you believe in something long term. But as far as like hating on people for taking profit, don't do that. I definitely think people should take profit. That's what keeps you in the game.
All right, watch the International Haters Ball. Get some notes, though, if you do want to do that. Redman said +1 Cassius for the best outro song ever on Sin City Cryptos. He's got the best outro ever, period. And let's see, who was it right here? I think it was SAS Finance talking about the person, what it takes to ride 1,000 all the way up to 1,000,000, and then all the way. That person must want to blow their head off. I don't know if they're that suicidal, but I imagine when they're driving traffic, they might just close their eyes. Hey, they just got to feel the thrill.
And forgot about it. Some people literally, I bought coins and forgot about it. Some meme coin or some crap, and you got like the 101th coin in whatever 50th wallet.
Phone dies, MetaMask. Yeah. I can't get back.
Went on vacation.
Oh man, that would be bad.
All right. Jail. I don't know. With the hospital.
All right, final question on this topic, then we'll talk about HEX. Interpret crypto. Base seems to be really, really hot right now. There's people looking for the next meme, not just everywhere, but they're looking specifically on Base. What are your thoughts on Base? Is there more opportunity here?
Well, this is something we have seen before in meme coin seasons previously. People look at Ethereum, people get sick of trading meme coins on Ethereum, and then they look for other places like layer 2s that have different opportunities there. Now, we've seen with Bald, this is meant to be because Brian Armstrong is bald. We've also seen meme tokens like Base and Coin fluctuate massively on the Base network today as well. But Base has now rugged as well within the last couple of hours. So we've seen this twice now, and I think that's going to scare a lot of people away from this very, very quickly. This is not what people want to see. People invest in meme coins because they hear these stories that they can make a lot of money very, very quickly. And seeing 2 rugs within 24 hours is going to scare people away. People are going to move on to other things.
All right. Well, I think it's time to talk HEX. I know a lot of you have been waiting patiently. You see it on the thumb. You see the title. Let's talk about HEX. I think we'll start with just a quick video right here. We probably only watch about 30 seconds of it. This is a clip of Richard Hart. You might have seen him on Twitter.
Narcissist, the benevolent king.
250,000. Hate me. I'm farther than you'll ever be in your whole life. Whatever the governments have been doing, it's not worked out. You've never had worse interest rates. Your money has never been worth less. And the only thing that's making it better is cryptocurrency.
Crypto is money.
All right. We'll end it there after about 30 seconds. All right. Well, SEC has filed suit against that guy. That is Richard Hart, the founder of HEX, also PulseChain there. They filed a suit for him for offering unregistered securities, a few other charges. I'm going to pull up Mario's tweet. He does a pretty good job. I'm just going to go on a quick breakdown of the charges. Conducting unregistered crypto asset security offerings right there. Misappropriation of funds, fraud in connection with the sale of the security. So those 3 are the 3 main things that they're kind of hinging on right now. And according to the complaint, he used more than $12 million of the investor funds It include buy a few things, including expensive watches, high-end automobiles, 55 carat diamond. I think we actually have from the court filing. I kind of want to read straight from 2 specific Rolexes, fancy Rolexes. I didn't know the Rolexes level was that high, but one a Daytona around $500,000. There's another watch around $500,000, and then there's a McLaren supercar over $1 million. It's the white court filing there. Yeah, there we go, right there. $534,000 for the McLaren, and then after that, 2020 white Ferrari for $300,000. $550 just for the Rolex Daytona Eye of the Tiger, and then $800K for the Rolex GM2 there. And then another 1.3 on a different Rolex watch right there. Well, they're saying he raised more than $1 billion through unregistered offer and sale of crypto asset securities, and also saying he bought the world's most expensive diamond right there is a 555 carat diamond. Looking at 2.3 million ETH worth about $678 million at the time in exchange for HEX tokens. Now, before we get into it, I do want to say this. Let me share one additional fact. The SEC does have a history of settling with coins for ICOs and unregistered security fraud, stuff like that. I looked up EOS. EOS was, they raised $4 billion. They're accusing Richard of raising over $1 billion. EOS raised $4 billion. Their fine, $23 million. Slap on the wrist compared to the $4 billion right there. All right, well, Corey, I see you're shaking. I know you want to move. You want to jump on this topic.
I have so much to say, so I don't know if you want me to go first.
All right. We'll go to Matty B first. Matty, what would you do in his shoes? You're in Richard's shoes. You're in Dick's shoes right now. Are you going to fight this like the XRP, or are you looking for an exit strategy like EOS?
Well, first off, there was a part of me that kind of liked Dickie Hart. I think he had a fun little spirit. He definitely wasn't a dumb guy. I would never want to debate.
No, very, very smart. I would say maybe the most skilled debater in crypto. I'm saying that unironically. He's a very high level persuader. Very high level.
He is. But then you say he bought a white Ferrari? Come on. Who buys a white Ferrari? He could buy any Ferrari he wants. Oh, look at him. He's in the window. Dickie,
Richard.
I told you, after this show, I'll fix your waterbed. And yes, I'll bring my Swatch watch. This guy's a nut about watches. I have an old Swatch from the 80s. He wants to switch it with a Rolex. I'm like, okay, any day, anytime. Anyway, I like Dickie Hart. I didn't know anything about what he was trying to push, but it smelled like a duck. I kind of walk like a duck. Maybe it is a duck after all these years. I was always wondering, with all these people coming under fire, Dickie Hart seems to be walking the high road, driving his white Ferrari. It didn't make sense to me. So at the end of the day, 12 million, who cares if he gets a slap on the wrist for, 20 million or 10 million? He's still laughing, and he'll probably gloat about it. Yeah, 30 million. What do I care, right?
Yeah. You see this watch, you know how much it costs. Yeah.
That's right.
Little Glengarry, Glenn Ross. We won't finish that movie quote there. All right. Well, Cassius, I kind of want to ask you about his style of, some call it advertising, marketing, whatever you want to call it. If he avoided all hype beast style promotions, there's a clip of him walking through the Prada store. He's got the white Ferrari. If he avoided all of that, stayed below the radar, would he have been charged?
Hate me. I don't know. I mean, there's obviously been people who've been charged who didn't do all of that. So, he still might have been charged. Listen, I'm a pro crypto guy, so I don't like to hate on crypto projects. I do say when I looked at this one, I did not like the fact that you had to tie up your HEX for so long. That I'm a not your keys, not your crypto type of person. So I mean, trade, sure, if you want to trade anything, but I'm just not the type to ever want to give somebody my product, my coins, especially not someone like him. So it's like if I ever had to draw a picture of a charlatan, like that's who I would do it. Now, I'm not saying he is one. I'm just saying it definitely wasn't for me. It was like a turn off, whereas for others, it's a turn on, and that's just one of those things. It's just one of those people who do stuff like that, where you look at it and you're like, how are you guys falling for this? But then again, people fall for it. Then again, what if it all works out? So I'm not one to sit here and say, it's not going to work out. But I definitely think he didn't do himself any favors with the SEC by saying, hate me.
And it was a friend of the channel that he got the famous twerking video on. It was on Wendy O's channel right there. I will say this. He did tell people to not use a lot of staking services was it? I'm trying to think. The one where Celsius, he told a lot of people to stay away from Celsius. He told a lot of people to stay away from Gemini Earn. And he's also more knowledgeable than most Bitcoin maxis when it comes to Bitcoin. Go ahead.
Yeah, but he told people to stay away from Bitcoin too. I mean, he told people to stay away from everything but HEX. I mean, that's kind of what the general play is.
That's a good point. That is a good point. I got to give you a point for that one.
Like, that's what you do.
All right, well,
everything sucks. Just follow me. That's kind of how it works.
All right. Well, interpret crypto. What are you going to interpret for the sentiment? So XRP fighting a huge SEC battle. Well, they got not even a win. They got a semi-favorable ruling. The price pumped. It went like 90% within 48 hours. I mean, what if he settles? I mean, can HEX potentially hit new all times next bull run with a SEC settlement here?
I think this guy's got an ego, and with that ego, he's gonna want to fight in terms of the price of HEX and the changes that could happen in the next couple of months. We've seen in the last couple of months that the SEC don't really have any long-term effects on projects. They can name projects as securities all they want, and centralized exchanges as unregistered securities all they want. But the projects seem to move on. The market seem to get over it pretty quickly. Yes, this one's a little bit more in depth because he's been accused of defrauding investors, and that makes people lose confidence in the project. But with HEX, there's been such a divide in the cryptocurrency community for so long about this project. The people that believe in HEX really believe in HEX. So I think they'll stick through this no matter what, stick by his side, because he shows on social media that he can afford all these brilliant things. And all those people that invest believe that they'll be able to do that too one day.
And people are bringing up, if you stake HEX through the hex.com, I believe it is, not IO, you're locking your keys within the protocol there. All right. Well, Corey, I know you just go ahead. I wanted to put that out there for you, Corey, so you don't have to explain that. Corey, a lot of Hexkins right now. They're like, all right, We got a real Hexkin in here. We got someone who understands the tech, understands the vision for PulseChain. What are your thoughts of this entire situation?
Sure, absolutely. So I'm going to be honest with you. I think this was a long time coming, and I'll tell you why. Because about 7 months ago, about 50 hexagons were issued a subpoena. And then Richard Hart stopped stopped live streaming. So there was something behind the scenes that was actually going on, where people were assuming what exactly was going on. And one of the main presumptions was that the SEC was probably eyeing Richard as the SEC has been eyeing many projects. I mean, Cardano was seen as a security. Solana was seen as a security. They went after Filecoin. And this is all in the last 2 months. Coinbase, they even said a couple of days last month that they wanted Coinbase to only trade Bitcoin. This is not an anomaly in cryptocurrency. So when it comes to Richard Hart, I do believe 100% that this has been a long time coming. And I do believe wholeheartedly that I think what's going to happen here is just like EOS. I think it's going to end up with just a settlement. So with that being said, I want to clarify a few things surrounding what's going on in the SEC case. And I'm going to say one thing in the SEC complaint that basically nullifies the entire complaint. Now, I'm not going to bring up the whole expectations, the sacrifice versus an ICO. What I am going to bring up is inaccurate information in the SEC complaint. So, in number 57, PulseChain operates by perfectly paying 75% of all Pulse tokens generated through gas fees to Pulse validators. The other 25% of the fees are sent to the Ethereum blockchain's Genesis address. Any Pulse investor can become a validator by staking or locking up 5 million Pulse tokens. The last sentence is completely wrong. Any Pulse investor cannot become a validator with 5 million Pulse tokens because you need 32 million PulseChain tokens to become a validator. Whereas just like in Ethereum, you need 32 to lock up your coins. So that is wrong in the SEC complaint to begin with. So when you look at that wholeheartedly, you begin to question the entire legitimacy, because this is based off of basically inaccurate conjecture on the basis of that one sentence. So when we look at PulseChain and HEX, a lot of people I see in the chat are saying that you need to lock up HEX. I have held HEX since 2021, and I have never staked HEX. I have always kept it liquid. When you hold HEX, it is not mandatory to stake HEX. I don't stake HEX because I like to be in control of my finances. I like to be in control 100% of what exactly is going on in a bull or a bear market. For example, I held a cryptocurrency that I staked way back in the day, and I wasn't able to sell the top because it had an unlocking period of 14 days. So I like to stay liquid personally, but I want to make some comparisons here about the Howey test, for example. So Bitcoin isn't a security because Satoshi never sold the coin. The expectation of profit came from miners securing the network. PulseChain isn't a security either because the expectations come from the validators securing the network. It's decent. PulseChain has over 35,000 validators. It's a lot more than most layer ones out there right now. So, and I know a lot of people are saying, well, it's not centralized. It's not decentralized because Richard is the OA, which is where that presumption is coming from. That he sold all of this to get a Ferrari and to get diamonds. Richard was a millionaire since his early 20s, and many people have done chain analysis on the OA, which is the origin address that holds the HEX, PulseChain, and PulseX. And based on all the chain analysis that people can find, he has not sold a single HEX or PulseChain or PulseX on chain that anybody could have ever found. So Richard was a millionaire prior to all of this. So when we look at HEX as well, HEX doesn't have any middlemen. HEX users basically make an agreement with a mutable smart contract, and then they mint their own tokens just like a miner does with Bitcoin. So you can choose to do that. It is not forced upon you. And when you look at PulseX, it's basically a decentralized exchanges where market participants can choose to provide liquidity or not. There is no HQ. There is no foundation. There is no employees. And I think that's what makes HEX and PulseChain distinctive from what happened with Ripple, is that Ripple had a foundation. Ripple had an entity. Whereas HEX and PulseChain, there is no marketing HQ. There is no Richard Hart brick and mortar store where we go every day to get a paycheck from Richard for marketing. So there is no marketing team with HEX and PulseChain. It is literally just a grassroots community. Now, do I think that Richard's flamboyance put an eye on him? Absolutely. I was never a fan of the outrage marketing, and I think that the flamboyance added more fuel to the fire. However, I do believe wholeheartedly that, like you said before, there is a precedent of projects just like EOS. EOS raised $4 billion, and I believe the exact number for PulseChain, I think PulseChain raised about $600 million, and PulseX raised about $1 billion. So we're looking at anywhere between 1.4 and 1.6 billion. And when you're looking at that, it's one of the largest sacrifices or ICOs, whatever you want to call it. However, I do believe in the end with all of this, I do believe it's just going to be a slap on the wrist fine. I don't foresee Richard going to prison as a result of this. I think it's just
I don't see that either. All right, yay or nay, new all-time high, next bull run.
I think it really, for which coin?
HEX. Good point. Well,
HEX?
The other ones weren't out.
Good point. Okay, so it really depends because there's PHEX, there's EHEX, there's PulseChain, there's PulseX as the incentive token. So it's not
just like a politician, just like can't give me a yay or nay.
No, I think it really depends on the allocation of where the economic mass goes between PHEX.
All right, Justin Trudeau. Okay. Corey doesn't want to answer the question. That is fine. They did want me to say -1 on Corey for not staking your HEX there. And Corey, really good point, really good distinction with Bitcoin and Ripple. Ripple having an entity, offices in San Francisco, the poop-laden city hellhole, versus Bitcoin. It's just basements around the world. So you're saying HEX a little bit closer to Bitcoin with just basements around the world versus like a Ripple. Good points there. I think the HEX community very, very happy. The anti-HEX people really don't have much to take umbrage with what Corey said there. So wait a minute. Yeah, Viva La Hexico, I think was maybe one of the better comments there. But Corey, I think this one might have been stacked in your favor. And let me just say this about my take on the Richard Hart situation. I am anti-SEC. Given that I'm going to be pro Richard Hart, I've met the guy. I'm really. I'm never going to root for Gary Gensler. So if you want to root for Gary Gensler, think, hey, why am I rooting for Gary Gensler? All right, that's it. That's all we have time for today, though. But Corey, you ended up taking the cake here. So feel free, leave us with some thoughts here, and tell us, will you sack now that the community's coming after you?
Well, what I want to say is that anybody who's advocating for the SEC, no matter if it's HEX, PulseChain, or whatever, it's antithetical to the principles of blockchain and Bitcoin. And I think you could reconsider your position on this, because we are supposed to be a united community. We're supposed to be a united industry. And I really hope that people will reconsider that. I hope that everyone in the chat would consider liking and subscribing to Around the Blockchain, and all of us that are on the panel, please consider subscribing to us and liking the video and sharing. And I just want to say thank you for all the panelists, and thank you, DZ, for having me on.
All right. And if the camera scrolled down low enough, I would twerk, but not today, unfortunately. But all right, that's all we got time for. Make sure you go down in the description. Links for everybody's channels here. Make sure you're following their stuff. Make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you're subbed, all that good stuff. Until next time, easy out.